Today is Wednesday and it's the 26th of April 2023, and I thought I'd give you a bit of a news update. Finding it difficult to get out at the moment. You know, it's so true when people say you won't find time, you won't know how you had time to go to work. Life seems to be so very, very busy. And today's an example of that. This morning, up and out early. I was out before 8:30 this morning because my car failed its MOT, or ITV as it's called here in Spain. And so I had to take it back to the dealer and get them to have a look at it. Turns out it was just a problem with the computer system on board. Nothing mechanically wrong with the car, just something wrong with the computer. And because there was something wrong with the computer, it failed the ITV. I took it in for a 9 o'clock appointment. I was there well early, and they told me it was going to take 3 hours. Basically what they ended up doing was plugging it into their computer, checking it all out, and telling me it was okay. And it did take 3 hours. So I was sitting around for 3 hours in a car showroom. Fortunately, I don't know if they do this in the UK, but the car showroom that I go to has got a bar. It's only a coffee bar, but they serve coffee, they serve snacks and food. The one way to keep you happy, I suppose, is they give you a little ticket so you get a free coffee. So I got a couple of free coffees out of them, and then a €90 bill for plugging it into their computer. But once you do that, I have to go back to the MOT testing station to have my car tested. The way MOTs work over here, or the ITV as it's called, is that if you buy a brand new car, you don't have to have it tested until after 4 years. And then after 4 years, it's every 2 years until the car's 10 years old, and then it becomes every year. There are different rules for different sorts of vehicles and caravans and motorhomes, but just for an ordinary car, a new one, not for 4 years, and then 2 years after that until it's 10 years old, and then every year. And it's not any old garage that you go to have it done. This is a government-run testing station, so they all charge the same price as far as I know. I think the original test was about €35, so you go in, you pay your €35, and they do all of these tests. Because mine failed, they said you come back within 2 months and you can have it retested. I'm sure they said for nothing, but obviously they didn't, because I had to pay. It was only €4, so it was not extortionate. So I went back, and they only tested the things that were wrong. So pretty much that was the computer. So they plugged my computer, or their computer, into my computer, told me everything was okay, and then they just needed to do one test, which was the test that was obviously causing the issue, and that was to measure the number of particles or gases coming out of the exhaust. And they just stick a probe up the exhaust and then ask you to rev really quite strongly for a fraction of a second, really, and then just says it's okay, off you go, and your MOT is now complete. You're then given a sticker which you have to display in your window. So if the car's a new car, you won't have one of these stickers until it's over 4 years old, but then all cars in Spain will have a sticker which will say exactly when the ITV is due to expire. So that's just a little bit of news on ITV and or MOT and how it works here in Spain. Just getting on to a little bit of other news. We're getting near to the holiday season now. It sort of starts with Easter, but it doesn't really kick off until May, and it'll be May the 1st on Monday, and that's when it really is going to kick in. And we've already seen in the first few months of this year that the number of aircraft landing and the number of passengers landing is well exceeding the previous years, even though that they were pandemic years. But before that, if we look back to 2019, we're actually up on 2019. So more or less, we're back to pre-pandemic levels. Coming with the extra people on the island, well, we're going to have a summer police crackdown, apparently. And from next Monday, the police are going to be looking out for anyone who's got any antisocial behaviour, being drunk or doing anything like that in public places. And there are some huge fines around. If you're a business and you're encouraging antisocial behaviour, the fines will go up to €600,000. For the individuals, if you're caught being antisocial, then you likely get a fine which goes up and up and up from about €100. So it's to encourage good behaviour, and I'm quite not opposed to that. I'm quite in favour of that. This weekend really is the earliest I've ever heard that we've had a heat wave. I've even seen it today on UK news, telling us that Spain is on red alert or amber alert for the intense heat that we're going to be getting over the next few days. It's already feeling nice and warm, but over the next day or two here in Mallorca, the temperatures are expected to be 16 degrees higher than normal. We're expecting to get temperatures well into the 30s, maybe even the mid-30s. On the mainland, it could get even warmer than that, and talking about temperatures of 40 degrees. Now that is July, August temperature, and is quite unbelievable. One of the problems they've got on the mainland is that they've not had a lot of rain, so they've got a bit of a drought situation, and so the mainland seems to be suffering a lot more than we are in Mallorca. We don't have a drought situation. We had a lot of rain over the winter. We had quite a lot of snow over the winter. That all melted, and the two reservoirs, the main reservoirs that provide water to Majorca, are reasonably full. We also get a lot of our water from wells, boreholes that are actually dug down into aquifers, and we also can, if necessary, we can desalinate seawater. So we take seawater, take the salt out of it, just like the cruise liners do and ships do. So there's not really a problem here in Majorca, but there is on the mainland. Talking about water, a recent law, and this is only in the last couple of years, is that restaurants are supposed to offer you free tap water. In the past, restaurants were very reluctant to offer tap water. They often told you it'll poison you or it's not good water. There's nothing wrong with the tap water here in Mallorca. I'm not sure about elsewhere. In some places it doesn't taste so good because it does come out of these aquifers, but it is safe. In other places it's excellent, and I'm firmly of the opinion that the water we have here in the part of Palma that we live is excellent, is really good. Anita drinks drinks bottled water, I drink tap water, and well, that's how it is. But apparently some restaurants have actually been charging people for tap water, and that is wrong, and the government's catching on to this now, and they're going to be doing something about it, I think. So if you see water that says kilometre zero, that means it's come straight out of the tap, and you shouldn't really be paying for that. So if they offer filtered water, that's I suppose a little bit of a grey area, and then bottled water obviously you do have to pay for. Some of the videos I've shown you, especially if we've been on our bus rides going into Palma, we've seen that the petrol station in Plaza Progreso, and there's another one at the other end of the avenidas, which are in the middle of the road or by the road, and these have been told that they've got to close down many times, and well, the first fines have been dished out, €40,000, and apparently they're going to be repeated every 8 days, these €40,000 that they're not closed down. So whoever owns them are quickly going to go bankrupt, I would have thought, with €40,000 every 8 days. So I think we probably will see the end of those petrol stations very soon, and then you've got to see what's going to happen to the land. Well, in Plaza Progreso, one of the political parties, we're in a voting season. We've got the elections coming up very soon, and so we've got all sorts of wonderful ideas coming out by the different political parties, and one of them has suggested that in Plaza Progreso they have an underground car park where the petrol station is. I'm sure an underground car park would be welcomed, particularly in that area where there is very little street parking. But it's a political ploy to attract voters. Whether it'll ever actually happen, I don't know. And talking about parking, I did mention to you that two of the biggest sailing yachts were in Palma, and they're still there. We've driven past, and they're two huge sailing yachts with enormously tall masts. One of them belonging to Jeff Bezos. He's the Amazon owner. And he's got his second boat here, which is a 75 metre long, much smaller boat, 75 metres, still a very big boat, has come along to be the support ship to his sailing boat. So maybe we will be getting to see Jeff Bezos on the island. I mentioned restaurants charging for water, tap water, which they shouldn't be doing. But we have to have a little bit of sympathy for the restaurants. They've got enormous charges that have gone up a lot in the last 12 months, particularly with their energy costs, things like the gas and the electricity, the air conditioning that they're using in the winter to keep it warm, and in the summer to keep it cool. They're facing huge bills. And somehow they've got to reclaim it. And one of the problems that they've been encountering is that people have been booking large tables, so 10, 20 people have been booked in at a restaurant, and then simply not turning up. And this just is not fair. At least you can do is phone up a few hours beforehand and say, sorry, we can't make it for whatever reason, and move on. But people are just not doing that. And so quite a few restaurants now are saying, we need your credit card, and if you don't turn up, you're going to be charged 10% if you don't cancel within a certain time. And that's the sort of thing that happens with lots of other things, doesn't it? You can't cancel holidays in hotels normally before. You can cancel them a few days before, but you can't cancel them afterwards, or just not turn up and not expect to pay. So do be aware that that might be occurring in restaurants. On some of the beaches that have got beach bars, well, they're being taken down, removed. The permanent ones, the ones that have been built and there for many years, are being torn down, and temporary ones will be put up just for the summer months. And this is one of the things that's happening in Mondrago. Mondrago is a national park. It's a beautiful area of the island on the east coast, fantastic beaches. And they're going to be taken down. Estrenc may be one of the others, and lots coming up in the news where these beach bars will be removed. We'll see what happens with that over the summer, but it looks as though they will be there, but are much smaller and on a temporary basis. And we're coming towards the end of the football season, and tonight, well, we're out again tonight because we've got a midweek match this week. We had a fantastic game at the weekend. We really were hoping we'd get a draw, and within the first few minutes we were a goal down. But second half, totally different from the abysmal first half. And in the second half, we scored 3 goals and went to win 3-1. That took us right up to the middle, top half of the table there. And so we're looking in a much safer position for permanence in La Liga. But we've got a very difficult match today. We're going to be playing Atletico Madrid, and we're playing away, so we're playing in Madrid. On occasions like that, Anita and I go down to the Mallorca cafe, and we watch the video in the bar there with some of our friends and a lot of other supporters. It can get quite lively down there. And because it's an early evening one, we sometimes have something to eat, so we might have some dinner down there as well. But it's Atletico Madrid, and well, we'll see. We've got good form against Atletico Madrid, having beaten them earlier in the season, so who knows what's going to happen tonight. We'll see. And then another game at the weekend as well, so lots of football going on over the next few days. So that's all the news for me for the moment, and thanks very much for watching. And I'll try and get out and about as soon as I possibly can, as soon as I find time for it. But thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So bye for now.